I appreciate all of you, and thank you for hanging out with me. Encourage you to go buy the book Balls. It is out. It is fabulous. It is fantastic. You are not going to want to miss it. And it will be out in 20 days. So it will be in bookstores everywhere. You can go buy it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, booksamillion.com right now, and it will arrive on your doorstep on the day it comes out. We got a lot to talk about, and we have got some fantastic games to talk about. Kelly Stewart and I are going to be doing the gambling special that is coming up here shortly. But I wanted to start with a couple of different things that are out there. To me, sort of a big story that's going on right now in college football that isn't getting as much attention as I think it deserves. And that is the fact that ABC, Disney, ESPN, for all of the stupid things that they do that are woke and mind-numbingly idiotic, they got one really big, huge decision correct. And that was Disney, ESPN, ABC, they said, we're going all in on SEC football. We're going to have every single SEC football game on ESPN, ESPN2, ABC, SEC Network. I think they're all on those 4 networks. And they're not just winning the ratings battle. They are trouncing the rest of college football, including the Big Ten, which is airing on NBC, CBS, and Fox. And one reason they are trouncing everybody else is the triple header on ABC is almost impossible to beat. And I've got a data point to show you all of this. This is just this past weekend. Here is what the viewership numbers looked like. And I want to pull them up to make sure that I get them right as well. And there it is up on the screen for all of you. The most watched games, this is a sign that the SEC is just trouncing the rest of college football when it comes to viewership. Oklahoma, Texas, 8.7 million viewers. Alabama, Missouri, 7 million viewers. And Georgia, Auburn, 6.7 million viewers. Let me put that into context. All 3 of these games outrated the CBS most watched game that they have had in 2 years on the Big Ten, including Indiana against Oregon, which was the best game that they have had so far. And again, I'm giving praise to ESPN, ABC. They got this right. And then we also have a graphic. Most watched college football games this year. SEC teams are in 8 of the 10 most watched games. The only ones that were highly watched that did not involve SEC teams, Oregon, Penn State, and Notre Dame at Miami. Every other most watched game this year has featured at least one SEC team. And in particular, Big Ten versus SEC is a no-brainer home run. So let me just reiterate this. A few weeks ago, I came out and I said we've got to have SEC versus Big Ten. I want a top-to-bottom challenge. 1-16. Slot in the top 4 against the top 4. 5-8, 9-12, 13-16, boom, and let's reward some form of championship belt or some form of trophy to the conference that does the best head-to-head. And hey, you want to really have a huge moneymaker? Here's a $1 billion idea for you. Why not have the FedEx Cup of college football where some big sponsor says, hey, whichever conference wins this, we're going to give that conference $50 million to give to all the players. Imagine how much enjoyment there would be if you knew top to bottom 1-16 in your conference, that if your conference won, even if it was 9-7, if your conference won, every player would get, somebody do math on this, 50 million times 105 scholarship athletes times 16, what is that, 1,600? Am I correct? I think it's 1,600 roughly. 1,600 roughly athletes. One of you guys back in the studio do the math on this. Let's say that a big sponsor said, I'll put 50 million on the table. Whichever conference wins the most games, the players get $50 million to distribute among themselves. What is the math on 50 million divided by 1,500? Maybe it's 25 million, whatever the dollar figure is. It's a ton to those kids. Am I right? Is that $250K if it were 25 million? And is it no, it's not 500K. 25,000? Maybe it's 25,000, 50. I don't do live math well. Just do the math on that. 50 million divided by basically 1,600. What would everybody get? I think it's like 45K. Tell me if I'm right on that math. It would be pretty impressive. And I think you'd get a lot of guys super excited to play. By the way, the conferences would get more money too. It's a no-brainer. It needs to happen. It's what the data is telling us there is a huge demand for. Okay. I got a ton to talk about today, and I got to go fast because I've got a flight here. Joy Behar came out on The View. Let's see if my guys did the math correctly. $31,250. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for one game. Pretty good for every player. 105. Everybody gets the same check. That's almost what the WNBA players make for a year. So that would be good. That would be fun. To me, it's a no-brainer. Let's do that. Joy Behar came out and said, hey, the reason we don't have very many Republicans on the show is they're actually afraid to come on the show. And that's simply not true. And I was just on Clay and Buck, and our producer, Allie, emailed The View in July and said, hey, Clay Travis, happy to come on the show. He'll pay his own way to New York City. You just tell him a day. And she just emailed them back. I've got this new book coming out there. Let's put up the email. If you doubt me, this is our extremely talented producer, Allie. This is back in July. She emailed the producers of The View and said, hey, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton, they are willing to come on with you. And then she has emailed them back, and she's saying, hey, Clay is going to be in New York City for a week in November. When this book comes out, I'm going to be doing a bunch of media all over New York City, variety of different shows. And she said, Clay's happy to come on The View and talk about balls, how Trump, young men, and sports fans saved America in 2024. So there is a public invite that we have offered ourselves up. And by the way, this is very common. Producer Allie said we get dozens of pitches a day on Clay and Buck from people saying, hey, we'd love to have so-and-so on the program. This is very common. Like, hey, you say no Republicans want to come on. Here's Joy Behar saying something that is untrue. Now, to be fair to Joy, she probably doesn't know about most guest inquiries or even most guest invites. I don't know about most of those, to be fair, on Clay and Buck. But I'm telling her, I tagged her. It's already gone somewhat viral. I'll tell you how many people have clicked on it. I mean, I think it's been shared or liked 10,000 times already in the past couple of hours. But here is Joy Behar saying Republicans won't come on The View.
I think that we should have more Republicans on the show, but they don't want to come on. They're scared of us. It's like Marjorie Taylor Greene says that she finds the Republican men afraid of powerful women. Well, that may be true of all the political persuasions. But if they would come on this show, and they can explain to us what they're trying to do to this country.
So again, that is not true, but the open invite is we are willing to come on their program. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, it would be a lot of fun. I'll be in New York for the entire first week of November, and I won't even require any travel accommodations, any hotel. All you do is tell me what time to show up. I'll be at the studio ready to roll. Speaking about ready to roll, I'm ready to roll with yet another winner. Do we have updated standings? Because I have to be crushing everybody else at OutKick. We won again last week, a 5-1 hit. We have now won 4 out of 6 weeks so far. Is there an updated standing for the NFL? Because if there isn't, there should be. Because in particular, I'm winning. And when I'm winning something, I want to make sure that everyone else knows that I'm winning and they're losing. Humbly. I'm going to win on this one too. I love this pick. It pays out at 3.2 to 1. You can play. Go to PrizePicks, download the app, use code OutKick. When you play $5, you get back $50. Here is my picks. They're easy. 5 different starting NFL quarterbacks, all more than 1/2 That means they will all throw at least one touchdown pass. Are you ready? Joe Flacco. That's tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football. More than one half touchdown pass. Trevor Lawrence, more than one half touchdown pass. Bryce Young, more than one half touchdown pass. Tua Tagovailoa, more than one half touchdown pass. And Jackson Dart, more than one half touchdown pass. That is 5 different quarterbacks: Flacco, Lawrence, Young, Tua, Jackson Dart, all to throw more than 0.5 touchdown passes. These are passes. Runs do not count. If I'm right on this, it pays out at 3.2 to 1. PrizePicks.com, code OutKick, $50 when you play $5. It is a lot of fun. You can either play on the app, the PrizePicks app, or you can play at PrizePicks.com. And New York just got added. So you can play in California, Texas, Georgia, New York, basically everywhere, all over the country. You're going to love it. Okay. Piers Morgan just had one of the Democrat gubernatorial candidates on his program. And the conversation turned to, what should the 2028 Olympics look like? She said there should be potentially no gender divide at all in the 2028 Olympics, which will be taking place in Los Angeles. That is, every man should be able to compete against every woman. There should be a gender-free Olympics because some people are trans, and trans men who are pretending to be women, their feelings have to be protected. And so all gender difference should be eliminated, and we should have a gender-neutral Olympics. This is what the conversation sounded like.
Wow, well, you've got the Olympics coming to California, to LA. So are you suggesting that you would allow trans athletes to compete in women's sport in the Olympics if you were governor?
Well, I think there's still a lot of discussion that needs to happen. I think there's a lot of information we need to learn about what's really happening with the ability of trans athletes to compete. But my statement is about being able to be sure that they can compete. And right now, there's
my question is whether you think they should compete in women's sport in the Olympics, because it's coming to LA, so it's relevant.
I think transgender female athletes are women athletes, and they should be able to compete.
Really? So if you were governor of California, you would support biological males who identify as women competing in women's sport in the Olympics?
They are now identified as transgender female.
And you think that makes, and you think it's fair that they should then compete in women's sport?
I think they should be able to compete in women's sports, but I also think that there is still some discussion about whether they should compete in the same field. But I just want them to be able to participate.
Sure.
This is crazy. This is legitimately crazy. I give credit to Piers Morgan for actually pushing on this. That chick actually said, hey, it might be the case that Usain Bolt could lose to a woman. The fastest man in the history of the world, according to this crazy California Democrat, could lose to a woman. Now, this is so dumb, it makes my brain hurt. But here's a stat for you. In Texas, this past year, spring in Texas, 2024, every single high school state champion boy in track and field was faster than the fastest woman in the history of the world, Florence Griffith Joyner, who I believe in 1988 ran the fastest time that a woman has ever run in the 100 meters. Let me repeat that because I think it's kind of staggering. Every high school state champion boy in Texas alone, these are not men, these are young men, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds in Texas. In Texas alone, every single state champion track and field winner was better than the best woman has ever been at track and field in the history of the world. So, no, Usain Bolt is not getting beat by a chick at the Olympics. You are crazy if you're going to argue this. And I do think you're finally starting to see a lot of people sign up and recognize the absurdity of this. This is Keira Knightley, a Bonnie Lass, as we were describing her on Clay and Buck earlier. I don't know all of the movies that Keira Knightley has been in, but she's got a pretty good catalog. She is one of the stars initially, correct me if I'm wrong, of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. She was in the first several, a bunch of them. She was also in that Love Actually movie, if I remember correctly. And there's probably a billion other movies that I'm not thinking of that Keira Knightley has been in. She's a very successful British actress. She is evidently voicing the character of Dolores Umbridge in new audiobooks of the Harry Potter series written by J.K. Rowling. And she was asked by some crazy left-wing media member, well, what do you think about the boycott of Harry Potter books because of J.K. Rowling's take on trans-related issues? And I don't know if we have the video or if we just have the audio, but the part I want you to focus on is Keira Knightley just laughing in the face of this questioner and providing what I think is a pretty good answer. But it's a sign of Hollywood, even left-wing Hollywood, starting to come to its senses on trans-related issues. Listen.
I saw you're voicing Professor Umbridge in the new Harry Potter audiobooks. I was wondering, are you aware that some fans are calling for a boycott, given J.K. Rowling's ongoing campaign against trans people?
I was not aware of that, no. I'm very sorry. I think we're all living in a period of time right now. We're all going to have to figure out how to live together, aren't we? And we've all got very different opinions. So I hope that we can all find respect.
Bravo, Keira Knightley. I didn't expect you to have an encore or a role at all on the OutKick show, but anytime I find sanity, I try to make sure we feature it. Look, here is another audio clip. Speaking of sanity, we talked about a lot. Trump getting the peace deal in Gaza, Hamas releasing the hostages. A lot of Democrats, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, I believe even Kamala Harris, have personally said, Joe Biden, Trump did a good job. Barack Obama has not managed to do that. In fact, Barack Obama congratulated the WNBA champions on winning the WNBA championship. He found time on his social media accounts for that. He has not yet found time to congratulate Donald Trump on getting 20 different hostages that had been in the control of Hamas, held hostage for the past 2 years. How in the world, look at this, has Barack Obama found the time to congratulate the WNBA champions on his social media accounts, but he hasn't actually congratulated President Trump for being able to bring peace, at least in the short term, to the Middle East and Gaza, and to actually get the hostages out. This is extremely petty from Barack Obama. And speaking of extremely petty, I, of course, am willing to be petty, and I am not the president of the United States. But I do think that Trump talking about Joe Biden on the beach is evidence of why Trump's popularity is surging. The guy has an unbelievable schedule. He talks to the media all the time, and I think secretly a lot of the media are starting to like him. Here is Trump talking about how he might not have the perfect beach body, but he at least knows that Joe Biden, it wasn't a good look for him to be on the beach, dragging around tiny chairs, falling asleep, all these things. Trump's right. Listen, it's also very funny.
I'd love to go to Argentina. I'd like to be like Biden. I'd like to go to the beach. You know, my legs are not quite as thin as his. My legs are slightly heavier. My arms are slightly larger. My body is a little bit larger than his. I'm not sure it would be appreciated on the beach, but I'm not going to take a chance. You won't see me in a bathing suit. You won't see in a bathing suit sitting on a beach in Argentina, falling down, not being able to lift a 3-ounce chair, meant for old people to lift, and he couldn't lift it, so we had a problem. He spent too much time on the beach. Somebody told him that he looked good in a bathing suit. And you'd see this guy on the beach all the time. I never quite understood.
That's absolutely perfect. I love this guy. What a sense of humor. He is fantastic. All right, a couple of other clips that I want to get to quickly. This is Riley Gaines on with Piers Morgan, and some crazy chick says on their show, Black people can't be racist. This has since gone viral. Riley's on the right, Piers in the middle, crazy chick on the left. I want you to hear this, and then also you can throw up Elon Musk pointing out a self-evident truth, which is all races can be racist, and your color of your skin does not prevent you from being racist. Watch.
Piers,
now you can
black
respond.
Women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
they
capacity
can.
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they
But that's
can.
very much
And you've been
impossible.
racist to me.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You called me a race
Are you
baiter
kidding
with
me?
no
You're
evidence.
Racist to me.
When have I
You
been
can
a
be
race
racist-
baiter?
You could be racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
But I'm a powerhouse.
Tell me when I've been a race
I'm a
baiter.
powerhouse.
Well, you may be a
Piers,
powerhouse.
Understand something.
You may be
I'm a powerhouse.
You may be a powerhouse.
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
Oh, you admit that.
When have
Okay.
I been a race baiter?
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
Okay.
This is absurd.
No, hang on. Tell me,
Honey.
Blossom. Give me one example of me race baiting. Blossom, go.
I'm here at this point. I'm just here to talk about trans women in sports. I said what I said.
So you don't have
and I don't
anything,
to
do you?
Repeat anything.
You called me a race baiter.
Congrats to Riley, by the way, on her baby girl. She's already back out in the fight. I don't know if I've congratulated her publicly on the show. By the way, I don't know what the coloration is here, but I promise to you that I have not gone full Bobby Barack and gone to a tanning bed and gotten myself all orange. I'm looking at a couple of different versions of the video. One of these cameras, I don't look orange. The other one I do, and for some reason, the orange one is the one that's leading the day here. Maybe we can get that fixed because I'm a natural tan guy and I'm going to the beach, and I don't want people to accuse me of pulling a Bobby Barack and being a grown man who goes to a tanning bed. Elon Musk weighed in on that viral clip and said what is self-evident. All races can, in fact, be racist. Good for him. I can't believe that that is considered a brave thing to say. That is a trans person? I didn't even know. Okay, well, congrats, I guess. I don't know. What are you supposed to say? I had no idea that was a trans person, but I appreciate the update. Also, a couple of other things that I want to hit here. This is fun. You can debate with your friends this weekend as you sit around making a lot of money, hopefully on my gambling picks. I have argued for some time the very worst way to die is to choke at just a normal meal, right? You are out and about. You go to Red Lobster. You go to Applebee's. You go to Chili's. You're eating a shrimp on the Barbie. You're having a bite of steak. You're having a bite of chicken. Next thing you know, you're dead. It's the worst way to die. You basically are you're drowning, right? Because you have no oxygen, except unlike when you're underwater and you're drowning and you're surrounded by oxygen. You have just lost a battle with your fork and your esophagus. I am constantly afraid of choking to death because I think it would be the worst possible way to go. Because you haven't really assumed any risk. You've just sat down for a meal. Next thing you know, you're dead. I think about this all the time. Better take a smaller bite. I don't want to choke to death on this. And I'm right. Here was my take on Clay and Buck that has provoked a great deal of consternation, some agreement, but some people are morons and they don't understand the argument and they're wrong. Listen.
By the way, I'm right about the worst way to die. And before we go, just let me hit you with this. I'm sure we're going to have tons of reactions to this. Imagine you are one day in heaven. We hope everybody listening ends up in heaven one day. And you are sitting around and everybody's having a conversation, as I would imagine people in heaven often do. And you're sitting around, somebody says, hey, how did you go? Somebody's like, cancer. Cancer got me. You're like, man, yeah, can see that. Somebody else like heart attack. And then somebody else like great white. Everybody's like, man, tell me about that. Where were you? What happened? And then another guy pipes up and he was like, my 16th coconut shrimp at Red Lobster. Which one do you? Oh, that's the worst way you could possibly go. Cancer, heart attack, great white, coconut shrimp at Red Lobster. I'm right here.
Downstairs. I do not understand this line.
This is 100% because you did it. The fork defeated you.
I'm right. You know, if you go swimming in a crocodile-infested river, sometimes be a pussy, you shouldn't do that. But if you were to do that, you wouldn't be able to say, oh my God, I can't believe that the crocodile ate me. Assumption of risk. If you go skydiving, your boy here, I'm never going skydiving. I don't really like heights. I don't like the idea of jumping out into the air. There are a lot of things that I don't enjoy. I'm not going to go stay on a boat for a long time. I don't like being out at the sea. But if you do something risky and you die doing it, you have assumed that risk on some level. If you go to Red Lobster and you die because you happen to take a bad bite and choke to death, that's the worst way possible to die. If you argue otherwise, you are wrong. All right. By the way, for those of you who do not watch the gambling special, Vanderbilt's going to beat LSU. Alabama's going to cover against Tennessee because Tennessee's defense can't stop anybody. And Georgia is going to cover against Ole Miss, and they are going to hit the under in that game. I am going to be on Big Noon. I have already interviewed Lane Kiffin. It will be out Saturday morning. And I hope that you guys will enjoy it as we are headed towards a great weekend of college football and the NFL. I am scheduled to be on Sean Hannity's show tonight with Fox News, and as soon as I leave all of you right here, I will be recording with Kelly Stewart the Fade one day early for the NFL and college football gamblers among you. Again, PrizePicks as we go for the 5th win in 7 weeks of the NFL. Flacco, Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Tua, and Jackson Dart all to throw more than 1/2 touchdown. That means they will throw 1 touchdown pass. If that happens, cha-ching, 3.2x. We will win again, going for 5 in 7 weeks. That will start tomorrow. This has been OutKick the Show. I'll see you guys next week, unless you watch me on the Fade, in which case I'll see you in a couple of minutes. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. This has been OutKick the Show.